Well, good morning, good morning. Welcome back for another day of drawing and animating. So here we go again. Today is the 24th of July, year of our Lord 2025, and we're moving forward and progressing on our animation. So we've only got a few frames left to paint in this scene, and so we'll just get right into that. Um, yeah, okay, so you can see how it's progressing here. All right, so let's see, we'll go back to fit the window, and I'm going to blow it up a little bit so that as I move forward, I'll be able to see it better. We're going to go up here and add a frame in our top layer so that we can trace over it. Go to our brush and make sure we're using the solid brush here. We're going to ink with this color, and we have it set at 6 pixels for the cleanup. So we're going over the line with this color. So there we go. Remember always that as you clean up your line in color, try to make your strokes in one move if possible. That making a one stroke kind of movement tends to give you a smoother line. It isn't the easiest thing to accomplish, and it does require practice. Um, One of the ways that you can practice this would be to get up, get yourself a sketchbook or some paper, and get into the habit of making um, clean lines on paper, like say drawing a series of lines in one direction and filling an entire sheet of paper with it. What you start to do by doing that is you start to train your hand to make a line, a clean line, and just do it over and over and over and over again. After a while, your hand will get accustomed to making lines, and you may have to turn the paper in a direction that works with your hand to do that. Um, you will a lot of times it have to train yourself to make lines a certain way, especially if they're clean lines. Because normally, as artists, when we're sketching, we're accustomed to making, um, you know, sketchy lines, so we don't have to um, worry about, the line being perfect. But when you get around to doing um, a cleanup line or an ink line like what I'm doing here, then you have to train your hand to be able to make that line smoothly. And that's one of the reasons why I'm able to do this. It's because I've been practicing that. I've done that for so many years that I'm really used to doing it. So it's not much of a problem for me to do it. It's very easy. Um, Also, make decisions about where you want to put, whether you want to have a line be something that's on the top or on the bottom. Generally, if I know that I have one line that's going to work on top of another, then I will shift down here where it says draws in front to make sure that that line is on the top instead of underneath. But then there's other times when you want the line to work underneath another line, um, and so you have to shift it again to draws underneath or draws up behind. That gives you a much cleaner flow to a line, and it's just something that you have to get accustomed to. Just like anything else in the program, you have to get accustomed to over time. Um, Yesterday, I did something with the stripes, which, as I move towards the end of this scene, I think I'm going to implement it a little more. and it was where I saw that I was able to make an adjustment on the stripe action on this character so that it doesn't flicker. So as I move towards the end of the scene, I'm going to implement that more because I can see that it kind of worked a little bit yesterday when I was demonstrating it. When you're dealing with patterns or designs on a character that you are drawing by hand, it's quite common sometimes for those patterns to flicker and jump. Um, Sometimes you're going to be able to manufacture um, patterns and have them work fine, where it isn't really a problem because maybe it's a very easy pattern to follow. But there will be other times when the patterns might kind of flicker and jump because of a consistency or a lack of consistency that you have as you're working. And that's when you'll have to be a little more clever about how you deal with that pattern. The pattern will change as you go. So you have to kind of decide as you're working, what's the best approach to take to get the effect you want so that things are not jumping or fluttering around. But that's something that you don't really know that until you get into working and getting your animation finished or whatever. You start seeing where something is a problem and you start to see how you might be able to fix it. Um, there is a function here where I can do a line. A line tool is built into this, so that makes it easy when you are drawing things that are straight lines. You don't have to try to draw them perfectly. You can use the program. Then when you're ready to go for your paint bucket, you hit that. Whoops. But like I painted that wrong there. See, I had that fills in the front. I should have had it fills in the back. So I gotta undo that. Go fills behind. That's how it should look. Okay. There's the hair. And if there are any areas in the hair that are not quite coming through, you might have to go back in and paint those areas by hand to make sure they're coming through properly. Okay. So far so good. The stripes are jumping around. So as we finish this up, I'll address that and see if I can't get that to work a little better for me. Okay, I'm gonna add another drawing on this layer. You could actually probably, I would think you could probably copy paste even color, though I don't know that I would want to copy paste color, to be honest. I mean, I'm not going to say that you can't do it, but I think I would probably be a little hesitant about that. Oops. I think I'd be hesitant about it only because I don't think that you might end up with a pixelation issue with color if you copy paste it. Like when you copy paste a sketchy part of your drawing, that's in my mind all right. But when you copy paste something that's going to be your final image, Um, I guess it could be fine. It might be fine, but the pixelation of something, it might end up looking a little strange. So I think I would rather make sure that I'm putting the effort into making that look good. So, but that's it's not, I haven't really played around with that, so I don't know to what degree copy pasting final color would be. But I could certainly see the advantages of it because that means that you would just be copy pasting a finished image, and that would be saving you the work of having to trace it and paint it. So, I mean, the computer can do some pretty fantastic things, so it's certainly not outside the realm of possibility. It might actually be a shortcut. So I guess it's something to look into if you want. But I've just never done it, so I don't know. I can't speak about it because I haven't really done it. But I'm sure it would work. You know, don't know why it wouldn't work. Let's see. So let's see. We'll put this black line of the eyes. Put that on top. Go. Yeah, I could see how if you were to take a finished color image and just copy paste it for all the heads, and that would certainly make that process a lot faster. I guess I should try that sometimes. I've never tried it, so I don't know. But makes sense. Certainly makes sense. Could see why it would work. Let's see, are we on the top? Here we are. Let's go ahead and do the shirt. I don't know. For me, I like all of the hard work involved in animation. I've always found that that part, the hard work, the effort that you put into making something, it sort of, I don't know, factors into the enjoyment for me later on after you've finished it and you see the final thing. It's sort of like it's a reward. I guess it's like exercise a little bit, where you're thankful for the hard work that you had to do to make it happen. It's like now, okay, you get to see the benefit of it in the same way you would if you'd done a bunch of push-ups and you look in the mirror and you go like, oh, hey, I think I look a little bit better or whatever. In a sense, I see animation, the effort to put in to a scene like that, where there's this um, appreciation of the effort that you have to put in to make something look good. Yeah, you get kind of a satisfaction of that hard work that you had to do. You know, I don't know if that makes any sense, but most of us who worked in this business know what I'm talking about. There is a kind of satisfaction that comes with doing this stuff because it isn't easy to do. It is there is work involved, and there really isn't a true shortcut to it. It's like you you know that the effort put in um, is going to reap something good at the end. So you kind of don't mind the effort that you have to put in to make it happen because that's part and parcel to what you're trying to accomplish. Feels behind. So yeah, so you just go ahead and do it because in your mind you know it's going to look good when it's all finished. There's a part of you that says, yeah, that's you know I'm excited about the effort that I had to put in to get this to look the way that it does. And to me, as it is, the computer makes all of this just so freaking easy. My goodness, I mean, when I think of what we've had to do in the past in order to make an animated project, and I look at it now and I think, man, look at how easy it is to paint something, or it's just like night and day. Everything that I'm doing took way longer the old world of doing stuff, and now it's just wow. Because I came from that period of time where everything was done by hand, and you know every little stage that you went through, just took so much time, but it didn't deter us one bit. It's like instead of you thinking that, my goodness, that must have been really hard, why would you want to work that hard? I don't know, we just really, like I said, those of us who know we just enjoyed it. It was like, wow, this is great. We were excited about the what it was going to look like when we were all done with it. And it is hard to make someone who's never gone through that understand what you're talking about. Why you don't mind the seemingly mindless hard work that it takes to accomplish it. It doesn't seem to make sense to someone who's never done it. But there's just a lot of appreciation. There's also a lot of appreciation for um, the quality of the work when you finish it. I recall at Disney, for instance, the many years that I worked for Disney in the feature department back in the day, and when you would see someone finish a scene, piece of animation, and it worked really well, it was like a reward, because we all put so much effort into what we did, and you see this final thing, and it was just a joy. Even if it was just a pencil test animation, it was like, wow, look at that. Yeah, that works really well. And there was just an appreciation. At least from my end, it was. I think I can speak for other people who worked with alongside me. You just you saw this final animation work, and it was just beautiful. Another thing too that was really cool for me as a young animator coming up and learning animation was going back and to look at the older animators' work, stuff that had been done, say, years ago. We had a place at Disney Studios that we called the morgue, and what it was the place where they had all of the old animation drawings and artwork, cells, and things like that from all of the old, previously beautifully animated feature films that had been done, way back in the day. I mean, there was stuff that went back to like, Snow White and, Peter Pan and things like that, where you got to see the actual drawings that were done by the people who did them, you know. And boy, that was just a joy to see that stuff, and you'd pull out the drawings and look at them, and you'd be looking at the actual drawings, say that the animator did, or the actual cleanup drawings that the assistants did, or you'd pull out cells and you'd see the actual this was the cell that was in Bambi or whatever, and it was just it's like magic, or something. It's just like, wow, look at that, and it was just a joy to look at that stuff, because you would just realize somebody had to make that, somebody had to actually sit down and create that. And I don't know. For me, it was just such a respect that we had for the folks that came ahead of us and what they could do. You know, to me, everybody and anybody that was involved in any Disney project, I just thought like, wow, what a I saw it as a great privilege myself. When I was hired to work at Disney back in the, gosh, this would have been the late 70s, I just considered it a tremendous honor that I got an opportunity to be at Disney. And I was like, wow, this is a great honor, you know. And then to be able to see what these great animators and artists and creators did, um, I just blew my mind, you know, because I could just think like how they did what they did, you know. Because here I was doing the new stuff, but at the same time, there was like, wow, when I know how much work it was taking us to do what we were doing now, and then I had to think about when I look at something like Pinocchio and I go like, wow, you know, I look at the drawings and the anime and the cleanup and everything and the finished work and all I could think of was like, man, look at what look at what they had to do. Look at what they had, you know, the amount of work. It's just astounding, you know. So, yeah. So, anyways, there you go. Let's see. All right. So, you know, like I say, today we've got all these wonderful advances, and thank God for that because um, the one thing that animation always has been, and I suspect to some greater or lesser degree, more or less always will be, is that it is a very labor-intensive art form. You know, it requires a lot of work, and it doesn't seem like there's ever really been any way around that. Um, Even with all of our fancy advances, we still find ourselves putting in the work, putting in the time. It doesn't seem like that there is any way to get away from that. um, I guess, you know, to some degree, yeah, maybe we can do things a little faster, and the computer does make it easier for us to do our work a lot faster, so that's nice. Let's see, we'll take the opacity of the sketch layer down to 0. There we go. And there we have our final color. Okay, so yeah, that fluttering on the it's not the worst. Let's see. Not too bad. All right, let's see. So, where are we here time wise? We're at 23. Let's see. Well, um okay, so let's see. I think we had there, 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 there. Hmm. Well, that seems okay. Let's see. What's the problem? That, that. Well, it's because he's, yeah, okay. Oh, wait a minute. What? Oh, I see. Yeah, it looks like it's moving down. Uh, uh, well, that's probably where it is right there. So this frame, really. So let's see here. So we got that, that, that. Hmm. So, hmm. Well, so if I do that, that, and there, say there to there, and then there. That seems to be where it's. So it's really maybe this one frame here. We could maybe, let's see. So maybe what we can do here is, let's see. Let's go. on top here. And we'll take this color here. See, I think we could probably do that. Maybe do this. Let's see. That. Okay, let's see. Oh, it's got to fill on top. Fills in front. Okay. So if we go there to there. All right, so then we've got to change that. All right, so there to there. Well, let's see. I guess we could then do this. And then maybe do this. Oops. Back up on that. Then here. So we go there, there, there. Let's see. Then we need, let's see, maybe here. Do that. And then do that maybe. I don't know if that's going to work. Let's try that, see what happens. Oh, that's a little better. Yeah. That's a little better. I painted on the top there, so that seemed like that kind of took the curse off of it. Okay. Well, I mean, it's not 100% perfect, but it's better than it was. It's not jumping around quite as much. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's one of the things that you run into with this stuff, so you just gotta have to hope that you get it right. So, all right, well, there you go. So we've got this done now. So this scene's done. We're going to move on to the next one tomorrow. So, all right, folks, have a beautiful day. Once again, thank God for your talents and gifts that He's given you. You wouldn't be able to do what you do without God's involvement in our life. Well, no, we wouldn't be able to do anything, really. All right, so have a beautiful day, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget, Jesus is Lord.